Do you believe Shia are deviant? Yes, Shia are Ahlul Bid'ah. That is what I have consistently said. But this gives me an opportunity to address, like, okay, Shia are Ahlul Bid'ah. They are based on certain beliefs that they have. My question is, what percentage of the so-called Sunni world that we call Sunni, what percentage of them are Ahlul Bid'ah? This is a sociological question. Sociological / theological question, because I am a Sunni, I am a traditional Sunni, and that should be distinguished from a Wahhabi. A Wahhabi, as you have learned over the past months, and maybe you watched the Wahhabism documentary, their approach is very different. Their approach is that everyone other than Wahhabis are at minimum upon kufr, or they're just outright mushrik kafir. And we are the only ones who are on Tawheed. We are the only ones who have the correct Tawheed. Everyone else has left Tawheed. That is their understanding. The traditional Sunni understanding is different. The traditional Sunni understanding is that you have the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who are the Orthodox Muslims, and then you have different grades of people. So you have, there are sects and groups that are so beyond the pale that they are considered outside of Islam. They aren't considered Ahlul Qibla, for example. A group that is traditionally known for this are the Ismailis. The Ismailis are an offshoot of the Shia, but even the Shia themselves takfir the Ismailis because the Ismailis believe that their Agha Khan, their imam, can legislate and actually abolish things like fasting or 5 prayers 5 times a day or going to Hajj. The imam can actually completely change the Sharia, and whatever our imam says, that's the Sharia, because the imam is kind of the representative of Allah. And they have that kind of theology. So the Ismailis, not only the Sunnis, but the Shia have considered the Ismailis to be outside the fold of Islam. Another example are the Qadianis who believe that their prophet, Mirza Ahmad from Qadian, he is a prophet and the Messiah, and. So that is outside the fold of Islam. The Nusayris who believe that, or the Alawis who believe that Ali, radiallahu anhu, the 4th caliph, they believe that he was God, that he is actually the manifestation of God on earth. So all the Sunnis and the Shia consider this to be outside the fold of Islam. They're not Ahlul Qibla. So that's one category. Then there is Ahlul Bid'ah. These are people who they do not fall into Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They're not Orthodox Sunnis, but they are still Muslims. They just have deviant beliefs to such an extent that they're considered Ahlul Bid'ah. And the 12er Shia, for example, fall into this category. Or the Zaydis, they fall into this category. And so forth. So you have Ahlul. So going back to my original question, what percentage of the Sunni masses fall into this category of Ahlul Bid'ah? If we're going to categorize people according to theology, then it's going to be a large percentage of the Sunni populations are also falling into this category of Ahlul Bid'ah for a variety of reasons. But one of the main reasons for this is secularism, is liberalism. You have Muslims today who adopt views that are kufr views. They are kufr views. So as an example, you have Muslims, because of the influence of secularism and liberalism and feminism, they believe things that slavery is something completely immoral. And God would never legislate slavery. And if we see slavery, we condemn it. And if we see slavery in the Quran or Hadith, we deny it. We deny those verses, or we say that these are fabrications, or we say that this has been misunderstood. So that could be kufr, or it could be less than kufr, but it's something deviant. It's something deviant. There's no scholar in our Islamic history prior to modernity who ever said, had this kind of interpretation that slavery is something immoral. But if you petition the Muslim masses, this is the position that a large percentage will adopt. Or just belief on the application of the Sharia. Should we have secular laws governing our societies, Muslim societies? Should there be secular laws? Should the highest authority in the land be democracy, a democratically elected parliament? Or should it be Allah's legislation and the Sharia applied and we apply the Sharia, every aspect of it, which one is correct? You have a large body of the Sunni Muslims in Sunni Muslim countries who accept secularism. They accept the liberal democratic premise. And their acceptance of this can reach the level of kufr, or it could be less than kufr, it could be deviant. But regardless, they would be considered Ahlul Bid'ah. They would correctly be considered Ahlul Bid'ah. So what percentage, and then let's not even get into feminism, like feminist beliefs that also verge on kufr or less than kufr, or they're deviant. So many of the influence of liberal secularism has been so extensive, or interfaith, like interfaith and the acceptability of other religions. This is a huge disaster. This is a huge disaster. How many Sunni Muslims think that you can be a Christian and when you die and you're still a Christian, that you can be accepted into Jannah and Allah will forgive you? This is also kufr, or if depending on what their intention and what their understanding is, it could be kufr, it could be major deviance as well. And you see this when some of these Christian figures or celebrities, they die. You see what the Muslim masses are saying online. And this is a representation of their beliefs. So what percentage of the Sunni masses are Orthodox, Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in the technical sense, compared to in Iran? Iran, okay, let's say they're 100% Shia, then they're 100% Ahlul Bid'ah. What's the percentage in Egypt that they're Ahlul Bid'ah? Or in Palestine itself, actually, or in Syria, or in Nigeria, or Pakistan, or India, or Bosnia, or wherever, or American Muslims, UK Muslims. It's going to be a really high percentage. It's going to be a really high percentage. So what is our approach towards Ahlul Bid'ah? What is the approach of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah for Ahlul Bid'ah? Well, it depends. It depends on the situation, and this is something very nuanced. It's something very nuanced. It requires a lot of detail. But in general, when we're talking about the masses, and we're talking about a situation where we are confronted with an existential threat, the non-Muslims who are trying to genocide all of us, trying to get rid of all of us, and not theoretically, like they're actually doing it, and we're seeing it in 4K, then in that specific context, what is our approach to Ahlul Bid'ah? And it's very clear. We see this in the writings of Ibn Taymiyyah, which we're going to see some of them. We see this in the writing of Imam Ghazali. We see all of the major Sunni scholars. They're very clear. Like in these kinds of situations, you have to ally with them. You have to ally with the Muslims. They're still Muslims. They're Ahlul Bid'ah. They're still Muslims. They're still Muslims. And in general, you have an approach of camaraderie, working with them, partnership, supporting them. If they're attacked, you have to defend them. You have to. It's not an option. It's not an option. If tomorrow Egypt is attacked, if tomorrow Syria is attacked, if tomorrow Turkey is attacked, they're Muslims. They're Muslims. And if we do a sociological study of the beliefs of all of those Muslims, it's going to turn out that a high percentage of them have deviant beliefs. And they would even maybe considered a large percentage Ahlul Bid'ah. And their bid'ah is coming mainly from secularism, from liberalism, from these ideologies. We still have to stand by them. We still have to defend them. We still have to support them against the aggressors. We have to join hands with them. Like how this is the logic of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The Wahhabi logic is different because the Wahhabis say that no, if you deviate on Aqidah is the most important thing. So if you deviate on it, then you've left Islam. You are a mushrik. You are a mushrik, and then if we compare you as a mushrik versus Ahlul Kitab, you're actually worse than Ahlul Kitab. So we have to defend the Jews and the Christians. We have to side with the Jews and the Christians. That is the Wahhabi logic, and you see that. You see that very clearly in this war. We saw it on October 7th when Shamsi, or as my kids say, Shalomsi, when Shalomsi went on in Speaker's Corner on October 8th and said that these Palestinians are grave worshippers and they ally with the Shia. Therefore, they deserve what they get, and we're fine with them getting obliterated. That's what Shalomsi said on October 8th, and many of the Wahhabis supported him. Many of that network came out and supported him, and they supported that line. That's based on a Wahhabi ideology. That has nothing to do with Orthodox Sunnism. That has nothing to do with Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So I hope you can appreciate that when you ask, like, are Shia deviant? Okay, let's put deviance into perspective. That's my main point. Let's put deviance and bid'ah into perspective, because if we're consistent, if you're consistent about deviance and you want to contradict actually what is correct in Islam, and you want to do bara'ah, you want to disassociate from Ahlul Bid'ah, specifically when they're being attacked by the kuffar, by the non-Muslims, you want to throw Islam under the bus, then at least be consistent. Be consistent like these Wahhabis. Okay, the Wahhabis aren't technically consistent because they do taqiyya. They hide the fact that they consider everyone other than themselves to be mushrikeen. But at least, like, if you go to the real ones, and some of them are in my replies on Twitter, the real Wahhabis who are not doing taqiyya, they're open. They're like, you're all mushriks. You're all mushrik. So, but then you have some who are doing taqiyya, like someone like Farid or someone like Jake or someone like Adnan. They do taqiyya. They don't openly announce that, yeah, you all are mushriks. We're the only true Muslims. But if you want to consider the Shia deviant Ahlul Bid'ah, which they are, then be consistent. Have the same attitude towards the deviance of the secular Sunni masses, the secular Sunni populations, whether they're in Syria, Saudi, Bosnia, America, UK, South Africa.